Hey guys, Nthefastlane here. In this video I'm going to show you how to replace a front main seal. Now this pertains to 2003 to 2008 Toyota Corolla. If you need to purchase any of the items in this video, it'll say shop this video underneath the video if you're on my website. If you're on my YouTube channel, it'll say shop this video. I always pin it to the top comments or in the about me section. Now what you'll need for the job is a new serpentine belt, a new front main seal, a shaft type seal puller. You can use this or you can use the actual kit that installs and uninstalls the seals, a harmonic balancer puller kit. This pretty much clamps to the harmonic balancer, then you tighten this bolt and it can pull it out. As for the crankshaft seal, the front main seal, I love this kit right here. You get basically these mandrels, and you can put them together and just gently push the seal in with no damage, and it's a nice installation. Now go ahead and place a block of wood under the rear tire and make sure it's the opposite side that the jack's on. Also pull up on the e-brake and make sure your vehicle is in park. Next we're going to remove the hubcap. Just grab it and pull. And now we have access to the 21mm or 13/16 lug nuts. As for jack and jack stand placement, follow this demonstration here. Now with the previous owner, it looks like they removed the wheel well. So they took the plastic out right here, but in order to do that, you just take out a few 10mm bolts. There'll be one here, 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 maybe a couple clips, and then there'll be a couple in here. Then you remove that. Then you have access to this other plastic guard right here. And it'll be 1, 2, and then there should be a third one underneath. This one has some tie straps, but those are 10mm as well. Now looking at this harmonic balancer, it looks like it's checking out okay. You can see the rubber around it is still intact and in good shape. If yours is all ripped up or swollen out and falling apart from the oil, then you need to replace it. Now we're going to pop the hood and get to the serpentine belt. We're going to take a 19mm. We're going to gain access to the serpentine tensioner, which is right here. And we're going to put a 19mm on that, and we're going to pull towards the front of the vehicle. Now we're going to pull the serpentine tensioner towards the front of the vehicle, and when we get it all the way, we'll slip it off the alternator. Now be careful when you're slipping it that you don't put your fingers on the pulley, because if it slips off, your finger will get pinched. Then go ahead and gently release the timing tensioner back to where it was. Now remove the breaker bar with the 19, and we'll take out the serpentine belt. Now you can pull it from the bottom or you can pull it from the top. Just grab it and pull it out. And man, this thing is ate up. If you look at this serpentine belt, the oil saturated so much that the rubber just completely deteriorated. Now another concern with a leaking front main seal is the oil gets all over the alternator and starts to short it out, and it can cause an electrical fire. Where this one, actually the battery wasn't charging and the battery light kept flashing on and off, so it was shorting out. Now if you're not going to be using an impact gun to break this 19mm crank bolt, then you want to leave the serpentine belt on before you do this step. Now we're going to take a 19mm socket and a 1/2" extension. We're going to put it on here, and then we're going to take the 1/2" impact and break it loose. Now we're going to take our pulley puller and we're going to grab the shortest extension, the bolt, and the pulley puller claws. So the idea is to spread out the claws on this pulley puller around the harmonic balancer, and then put the extension in there with the bolt, tighten it down, and then it'll extract the crank pulley off of the crank. The idea is to take a 3/8 ratchet, tighten it until it pulls the pulley as far as it can go. Eventually it's going to hit the subframe. Then you're going to have to loosen the pulley puller, remove the pulley puller, and then you'll be able to pull the pulley off of the crankshaft. Now there's a few ways you can pull out the crank seal. You can use what they call a shaft type seal puller, which I mentioned earlier. You loosen this and you're able to move this any point that you need to move it so that it can wedge the seal. So if there's like a piece of block here, you can slide this where you need to slide it, and then you can kind of wedge it out. Another way to remove a crankshaft seal or an oil pump seal is with this kit. You can grab these two fingers, put it on the inside of the crankshaft seal or oil pump seal, just like that. Then you'll take this little tool, slip it between the two fingers, and then you'll tighten it down and it'll pull the crankshaft seal or oil pump seal right off. With this particular job, I find it's easier to use the hand puller. Now we're ready to install the oil pump seal. So what we're going to use is the crank bolt, and we need to find one of these adapters, these little bushings that fit the crank bolt. So an M12 right here, that fits perfect, so we'll use that. Then we'll take the adapter, slap the M12 on there, and now we need to find one of the mandrels that fit the actual oil pump seal. So this one looks like it fits. You're not going to use the big end, use the smaller end. And that fits real nice, so we'll use that. So what we're going to do is put it like this, and then the bolt is going to go through there like that, and now we're ready to install it. First thing you want to do is take some oil and rub it on the outside of the seal and the inside. Now don't go pushing this in with your fingers, because if you do, it could go in crooked or it'll go in too deep. These are very easy to make them go too far in. So just get it kind of snug. Once it's snug, use the tool to put it in properly. Turns out we're going to use Mandrel 5. The crank does stick out further. Place that on there. Put that flush, and now we'll tighten the bolt until the crank seal goes flush with the oil pump. And now the mandrel will go flush with the oil pump before the seal goes all the way in. Just stop, back it off, and you're all done. Next, we'll take the harmonic balancer and make sure to put a little oil around the edge here. Line up the keyway that you see right here. It's still on the crankshaft. If it isn't, make sure you didn't lose it. And you're just going to gently rock it back and forth until you hit that keyway, and then just push it snug. Then take your crank bolt, hand tighten that in, and we'll torque that later to 102 foot-pounds. We want to do this after we install the Serpentine belt. Next, we'll take the new Serpentine belt, and as you can see, it's bi-directional, so it doesn't matter which way it goes. And we want to shove it up through the bottom like this, and we'll tuck it underneath the harmonic balancer, and then we'll work with it up top. Now once you have this belt installed like it shows in the diagram, the last step is to slip it on over the alternator. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull back on the tensioner, and as you're doing that, keep the belt tight with your fingers, get the slack out of it, then slide it over the pulley. Now be careful, you don't want to get your finger pinched in there, and then gently let go, and that's it. There's two ways that you can torque this crank bolt. One is with the torque wrench at 102 foot-pounds, but you'll have to use a pulley holder. And basically the pulley holder has two little bolts that come through, and they bolt into the pulley, and then you hold it as you're tightening the crank bolt. The other way is get yourself an impact gun that's rated for anywhere from 100 to 150 pounds, and just give it the full force and it won't come off. Now if you have a Milwaukee M18 fuel 1/2-inch impact and you want to use that instead, go ahead and set it to mode 1, and that'll give 100 foot-pounds, and you'll be able to hit that bolt with no problems. Give it the full power and it'll be fine. Now once you have your crank bolt all torqued down, just go ahead and put the rest of the plastic lining back up with the two 10mm bolts and a few underneath. Go ahead and put your rim back on, lug nuts, hubcap, and that's it. So in closing, if the rubber on the harmonic balancer is all gummed up, just pitch it, get a new one. It'll save you a lot of trouble in the long run. Also, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to click the bell. If you hit subscribe and you don't hit the bell, you're not going to get notified. It's a two-step process. YouTube's algorithm, that's the way they have it. So go ahead and hit subscribe, then hit the bell, and I'll catch you next time.